I tried gardening with zero chemicals. It's randa skinchuman nature, but that. Here's what happened. You know that moment when you're standing in your garden spraying chemicals everywhere and suddenly think, what am I actually putting on the food my family's going to eat? Yeah, that was me 3 months ago, and what happened next completely changed how I see gardening forever. So, here's the thing. I've been gardening for about 5 years now, and I thought I was doing pretty well. My tomatoes looked decent, my lettuce was growing, everything seemed fine. But I was using all the standard stuff, you know? Chemical fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, all of it. I didn't think twice about it because that's just what you do, right? Walk into any garden center and the shelves are packed with this stuff. Everyone uses it. It's normal. But here's what got me thinking. I was out there one morning, my usual routine, mixing up some synthetic fertilizer. My 5-year-old daughter came running out, all excited to help water the plants like she always does. And I found myself telling her to stay back, don't touch anything until I'm done, wash your hands if you touch the leaves. And this little voice in my head went, wait, why am I putting something in my garden that I don't want my kid to touch? That question just sat there in my brain for days. I started actually reading the labels on all my garden products. Really reading them, the warnings, the safety instructions, the lists of chemicals I couldn't even pronounce. And then I'd go pick a tomato from the same plant I'd just sprayed and think, this is going in my salad tonight. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to fearmonger here. These products are approved and regulated, but something just felt off about the whole system, like when did growing food become so complicated? Our grandparents didn't have access to all this stuff, and they grew food just fine. Then one day my neighbor, who's this sweet 70-year-old lady named Margaret, walks over and casually mentions she hasn't used a single chemical in her garden for 30 years. 30 years. And honestly, her garden looked better than mine. Way better. Her tomatoes were massive, her soil looked like chocolate cake, and she had zero pest problems. Meanwhile, I'm over here battling aphids every other week with a spray bottle in each hand. I was skeptical, obviously. How is that even possible? We've all been told we need these products to grow anything decent. The marketing, the packaging, the promises of bigger yields and pest-free gardens. It's everywhere. So I asked her straight up, how do you do it? What's your secret? She laughed and said, it's not really a secret at all. She just feeds her soil, works with nature instead of against it, and trusts that plants know how to grow. They've been doing it for millions of years without us, after all. But something about what she said stuck with me. She looked me dead in the eye and said, nature already knows what it's doing. We just keep getting in the way. That hit different. Really different. Because she was right. I'd been so focused on controlling every little thing, fixing every problem with a product, that I'd forgotten plants are actually pretty good at taking care of themselves when they're in the right environment. So I made a decision right there, maybe a crazy one. I was gonna try this. Completely organic, zero chemicals, not even the organic approved stuff at first. I wanted to see if I could actually work with nature instead of against it. I wanted to know if it was really possible to grow a thriving garden without all the bottles and bags and synthetic solutions. I gave myself 3 months. 3 months to figure out if organic gardening was legitimate or just some romantic idea that doesn't work in the real world. Spoiler alert, the first month was absolutely brutal. Okay, so week 1 of my organic garden experiment. I stopped all my usual products cold turkey. No more synthetic fertilizers, no more pesticides, nothing. And for about 3 days, I felt pretty good about myself, like I was doing something meaningful, you know? I was out there every morning, checking on my plants, feeling like some kind of eco-warrior. This is it, I thought. This is going to be easy. Then the aphids showed up. I'm talking hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They were all over my roses, crawling up my vegetable plants, clustering on the undersides of leaves, and multiplying faster than I could keep track of. It was like they knew I'd stopped using pesticides and threw themselves a party in my garden. In my old routine, I would have just grabbed the spray bottle and boom, problem solved in 15 minutes. But now, I had no idea what to do. I stood there watching these tiny bugs take over my garden, feeling completely helpless. I tried the whole soap and water thing everyone talks about online, mixed up a batch, sprayed everything down, got every leaf I could reach. Did it work? Kind of. For like 2 days. Then they came right back, even worse than before. I was out there every single day with my spray bottle, and I felt like I was losing a war against insects the size of pinheads. My wife walked out one morning, saw me crouched between the tomato plants with this defeated look on my face, and just said, "So how's that organic thing going?" Yeah, not great, but the aphids weren't even the worst part. At least I could see them and try to do something. The real problem was happening underground, and I didn't even realize it until it was almost too late. My plants started looking sad. Really sad. The leaves were getting pale, that washed-out yellowish color that just screams something's wrong. Growth was slowing down to almost nothing. My tomatoes just kind of sat there, not getting any bigger, and I realized with this sinking feeling that I had no idea how to feed them without my go-to chemical fertilizer. See, I'd been relying on that stuff for years. It was so easy. Just mix it up according to the instructions, pour it on, and watch your plants explode with growth. It was like magic. Fast, effective, foolproof. But now I was standing there with plants that were basically starving, and I had no backup plan. None. I tried making compost tea because I'd seen videos about it. That was a complete disaster. First of all, it smelled absolutely horrible, like really truly bad, attracted flies from 3 yards over. My wife banned me from bringing the bucket anywhere near the house. And honestly, I don't think I made it right because my plants didn't respond at all. They just kept looking sad and pale and pathetic. Then I started researching other options. Fish emulsion, blood meal, bone meal, all these organic fertilizers that people swear by, but everything seemed so incredibly complicated. Different NPK ratios for different plants, different application rates. Some things take weeks or even months to break down in the soil before plants can even use them. Some need to be mixed into the soil, others applied on top. Some work better in spring, others in fall. I felt like I needed a chemistry degree just to feed my tomatoes. I looked into buying finished compost, but good quality stuff was expensive, and I'd need a lot of it. Plus, how do you even know if compost is good quality? I tried getting some from my local garden center, and honestly, it looked like dirt. Just regular dirt. Was it supposed to look like that? No idea. The worst part? My garden actually started looking worse than when I was using chemicals. Way worse. My tomatoes were yellowing from the bottom up. My peppers weren't growing at all. Just sitting there like little green statues. My beans were spindly and weak. Everything looked stressed and unhappy. I kept thinking, maybe everyone's right. Maybe you do need chemicals to grow food properly. Maybe this organic thing only works if you're some kind of gardening genius with decades of experience and perfect soil and a PhD in plant biology. Maybe it only works for people like Margaret who've been doing it forever and know all the secrets. Maybe I'd made a huge mistake. I was about ready to give up, honestly. Ready to go back to the garden center, load up my cart with all my old products and forget this whole experiment ever happened. So I'm sitting there, staring at my sad little garden, seriously considering just going back to my old ways. I'd even started making a mental shopping list of all the products I needed to buy. The synthetic fertilizer, the pesticide for those aphids, maybe some fungicide just in case. I was done trying to be the organic garden hero. But then I remembered what my neighbor Margaret said. Nature knows what it's doing, and I realized maybe I'm still trying too hard to control everything. Maybe I need to actually understand what my plants need instead of just throwing stuff at them and hoping something works. That's when I started really digging into organic gardening. Not just the surface level stuff you find in quick blog posts, but how natural systems actually work. I watched university lectures, read research papers, talked to people at the local farmers market who'd been doing this for years. And here's what I learned that changed everything. Healthy soil equals healthy plants. Sounds simple, almost too simple, right? But it's true. When your soil has the right nutrients and beneficial microbes, plants can actually defend themselves against pests. They grow stronger, their cell walls are thicker, they produce natural compounds that repel insects. They taste better too, because they're actually getting the full spectrum of nutrients they need. It's not just about NPK, it's about all the micronutrients, the organic matter, the living ecosystem in the soil. The problem was, my soil was terrible. Years of chemical fertilizers had basically stripped it of all the good stuff. Chemical fertilizers are like fast food for plants. They give you quick results, sure, but they don't build anything long-term. They don't feed the soil microbes. They don't improve soil structure. Some of them even kill beneficial organisms. I'd been essentially putting my garden on a junk food diet for 5 years, and now I was trying to switch to healthy eating overnight. I needed to rebuild my soil from scratch, and that meant finding a reliable, consistent source of organic nutrition that would actually work. Not something complicated. Not something that required a PhD to understand. just something solid that I could depend on. This is where things got interesting. I started researching different organic fertilizers, talking to other gardeners, reading reviews, comparing options, and I kept coming back to poultry-based products. Chicken manure has been used for centuries, literally since people first started farming, because it's naturally high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, everything plants need. Plus it adds organic matter to the soil, which feeds those beneficial microbes I mentioned. It improves soil structure over time. It's kind of the complete package. My grandfather used chicken manure in his garden. He had chickens in his backyard, and he'd let the manure age in a pile for a year, then spread it on his garden every spring. His vegetables were legendary in the neighborhood. I remember eating his tomatoes as a kid and thinking nothing had ever tasted that good. But here's the catch, and this is important. Not all chicken manure is the same. Raw chicken manure can actually burn your plants if you use it wrong. It's too strong, too hot, too concentrated. It needs to be properly composted and aged, which takes time and knowledge and honestly, a pretty strong stomach. Plus, if it's not processed right, it can contain harmful bacteria. You can't just grab fresh chicken manure and throw it on your garden. I don't have chickens. I live in a regular suburban neighborhood where backyard chickens aren't even allowed. And I definitely didn't want to deal with composting raw manure, even if I could find a source for it. That's when I discovered fancy chicken. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say this stuff saved my garden. It's essentially premium composted chicken manure that's been processed specifically for gardens. All the benefits of traditional chicken fertilizer, the kind my grandfather used, but without the risks or the gross factor or the year-long waiting period. What I loved about it right away was how straightforward it was. No complicated mixing ratios to figure out, no weird smells that make your neighbors complain, no worrying about burning my plants or introducing harmful bacteria. It's just clean, easy to use, and packed with nutrients. The kind of thing where you can actually read the instructions and think, okay, I can do this. I started working it into my soil around my struggling plants, top dressing it around the base of my tomatoes and peppers. I mixed some into the top few inches of soil in my vegetable beds, and then I waited, not really knowing what to expect, but hoping for something, anything, to change. Within 2 weeks, I could actually see the difference. Not subtle, not maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Real, visible difference. Here's where things got really cool. About 3 weeks after I started using fancy chicken consistently, my garden completely transformed. And I mean completely. Those pale, struggling tomato plants, they went from that sad yellow color to this deep, healthy green. The kind of green that just looks right, you know? The new growth was vigorous, the stems got thicker and stronger, and I started seeing flowers everywhere. Flowers that actually turned into fruit. My wife came out one morning and just stopped in her tracks. She looked at the garden, looked at me and said, "What did you do? Seriously, what changed?" That felt pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But the biggest surprise was the pest situation. Remember those aphids that were driving me absolutely crazy? The ones I was battling every single day with my soap spray? They started disappearing, not overnight but gradually, consistently, and not because I was spraying them or doing anything different with pest control. Here's what I learned. Healthy plants produce different chemical compounds that pests don't like as much. When plants are stressed and nutrient deficient, they're basically sending out signals that say, "Come, eat me," to every bug in the neighborhood. But when they're thriving, when they're getting everything they need from the soil, they can actually defend themselves. Their leaves are tougher. Their cell walls are stronger. They taste different to pests. Who knew? All that time I'd been focused on killing the aphids, when what I really needed to do was make my plants healthy enough to resist them in the first place. My peppers started producing like crazy. I'm talking more peppers than I knew what to do with. I was giving them away to neighbors, bringing them to work, making salsa every weekend. My lettuce was the best I'd ever grown, crisp and sweet with none of that bitter taste you sometimes get. Even my roses, which had been looking rough and struggling, bounced back and gave me the most beautiful blooms I'd seen in years. Deep colors, strong fragrance, the whole thing. But here's the thing about fancy chicken that really works, in the long term. It's not just a quick fix that gives you a temporary boost. It's actually improving the soil structure over time. Every time I add it, I'm feeding the microbes in the soil, adding organic matter that helps with water retention and drainage, building that living ecosystem that makes plants thrive. My soil went from this hard, compacted mess that was difficult to dig into, to something that's actually fluffy and rich. It's darker now, almost black in some areas. When it rains, the water soaks in instead of running off. When it's dry, the soil holds moisture longer. I can see earthworms everywhere now, which I barely had before. That's a good sign. Earthworms mean healthy soil. And here's what nobody tells you about organic gardening. Once you get the system working, once you build that healthy soil foundation, it's actually easier than using chemicals. I'm not constantly buying different products for different problems anymore. No more shelf full of bottles in my garage. No more trying to remember which spray is for which pest or which fertilizer is for which plant. I'm not worrying about application rates and safety precautions. I'm not keeping my daughter away from the garden after I've treated it. I just add fancy chicken every few weeks, keep my soil healthy and alive, and let nature do its thing. The plants are stronger, they grow better, and they can handle problems on their own. My neighbor Margaret was right all along. Nature does know what it's doing. We just need to support it instead of fighting it. Feed the soil, and the soil feeds the plants. It's really that simple once you understand it. 3 months into this experiment, and I'm never going back to chemicals. Never. My garden is healthier than it's ever been. My produce tastes better, genuinely better. My tomatoes have this intense flavor that my grocery store tomatoes never had. My herbs are more fragrant. Even my carrots taste sweeter. And honestly, I feel better knowing exactly what's going into the soil where my food grows. When my daughter wants to help in the garden now, I don't have to tell her to stay back or wash her hands immediately. She can dig in the dirt, touch the plants, pick a tomato, and eat it right there. That peace of mind is worth everything. The transition wasn't easy. I'm not going to pretend it was all smooth sailing. There were frustrating moments, times when I doubted everything, moments when I wanted to quit. But finding the right organic nutrition source made all the difference. It gave me that foundation I needed to build everything else on. If you're thinking about going organic, my advice is this: focus on your soil first. Everything else follows from there. Healthy soil creates healthy plants, and healthy plants can resist pests and diseases naturally. Don't get overwhelmed by all the complicated advice out there. Start with building your soil, and be patient. It takes a little time, but the results are absolutely worth it. And if you're looking for something that actually works without all the hassle and confusion, give fancy chicken a try. It's been the one consistent thing that kept my garden thriving. No drama, no complicated instructions, just solid nutrition that works. Is organic gardening perfect? No. Will you have challenges? Absolutely. There's still problem solving involved, still learning to do. But is it worth it? 100%. There's something incredibly satisfying about growing food in harmony with nature, instead of trying to dominate it with chemicals and synthetic solutions. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more about my organic gardening journey, including what I'm learning about companion planting, natural pest control methods, and building healthy soil ecosystems. Let me know in the comments if you've tried going organic and what your biggest challenges have been. I'd love to hear your stories and learn from your experiences too. Settings. Use only stock videos that's gardening and planting. Make the background music nature sounds, gentle acoustic instrumentals, soft ambient electronic music, and lively upbeat music. Make the voiceover with fast tempo, add karaoke-style subtitle, use any voice with a clear American voice for the narrator. Use YouTube. Audio library only. Don't use iStock. That's when I discovered fancy chicken, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this stuff saved my garden.
Nature already knows what it's doing. We just keep getting in the way.
I tried the whole soap and water thing everyone talks about online, mixed up a batch, sprayed everything down, got every leaf I could reach.
So how's that organic thing going?
My grandfather used chicken manure in his garden.